it's 4:30?
Mine too.
Welcome back, everybody. We have several things on the agenda tonight. I'm going to reintroduce you to a couple of our faculty members that are here visiting. We have a little discussion about the readings that we did for today. Talk a little bit about how research in general is conducted and classroom decisions are made, oftentimes based on it, but not always. A little bit of a summary, and we'll talk about next class session as we continue to move along. So with all that in mind, if the three of you would each introduce yourselves and let us know where you're from and a little bit of your background so everybody knows who everybody is.
Hey, I'm Daria Filipova and I have a lot of familiar faces here. So I teach at the math department and mostly calculus.
Great, welcome.
I'm Dr. Bostic. I know at least half of you. I'm one of the mathematics education faculty, and I'm working with
I'm Brooks Hostel. I recognize a lot of faces from the giant lecture hall. I'm an assistant professor in intervention services, working with Mount.
Great. Thank you all for coming. Give me a hand. So glad to have you on board, and I will maybe defer some of the questions to you as we go along through the next little while here. We've got a number of things to talk about. As we continue through our time together this fall, the whole purpose for a 3160 sessions is really to kind of focus us a little bit on classroom research and what that looks like and why we do it and how we do it and things like that as you prepare to do your own action research projects. And so there's really kind of an art to that. There's a process that we go through. And so you read a little bit for today, a couple of articles that I posted at Canvas, and kind of two different takes on the same research piece. And I mentioned last time that the person who did the studies was a classroom teacher working with a university faculty member, collected a bunch of data, wrote up her data, and then actually published it in two different journals. One of them being more like a research journal, and one more of a teacher kind of friendly journal, and sort of a little comparison and contrasting of how she did that, or how they managed to present the results. I actually had a talk with my wife about this the other day because we were talking about how she teaches 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math, middle school, and she was reflecting on the fact that not very often in her career has she actually read pure research that somebody else has done. Normally her life is about reading interpretation of research that somebody else has done. So she'll be reading in an education journal someplace that might summarize a study that somebody else has already conducted, but she's reading the summary of that and how to apply it to her practice rather than reading the research itself. And so it's kind of an interesting thing that as teachers we oftentimes get into that mode of reading about a study somebody did, but maybe not reading the study itself. And so that's kind of what's going on here. Sort of one of these articles is kind of the pure research itself, and the other one is a little bit more focused on what teachers might read. So the questions I'd like for us to think about is, in both of these articles, what is the researcher interested in finding out from the research that she did? What were her major results? How are the two articles structured differently? Kind of what do they have in common, but how are they different? What is included in one article, but not in the other? And then what are some of the limitations of the research that she did? Because every study has got limitations, right? There's always something we can point at and say, well, we might be able to say this, but we can't necessarily claim that. Kind of what are the limitations? So what I'd like to do is give you a few minutes first at your tables to talk about these two articles from Canvas, and kind of in light of these questions. And I want to kind of structure a little conversation around those in a few minutes. I think the easiest way to do this, if we can do like we did last time, maybe Allie and Jess, if you want to join Liz and Rachel, and you guys can form one group, and we'll have somewhat equal numbers. So would you take a couple minutes at your tables to talk about this list of questions? Process a little bit of what you read.
All right.